Jay-Z has finally been named in all the drama and allegations that's been going on with Hollywood melting down, and he is coming out a-blazing saying, not true. We're going to talk about it in today's video. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's back there. I'm right here. The boys are at a friend's house right now. My name's Paul if you're new to the channel. If you're not new to the channel, then, well, guess what? My name's still Paul, and I welcome you back, and I welcome you here. Now, today we're going to be talking about the case against Jay-Z, I guess you could say. And this is also tied in with the drama that's been going on with P. Diddy. Also, the entire music and Hollywood industry, okay? Now, before we get into it, do keep in mind that I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a cop, I'm not an investigator, I'm not a therapist, none of that fancy credentialed stuff, okay? I am just a regular guy with some sass and some sofa. That's the only credentials we got up in here. Okay, so these are just my opinions on very public information. I urge you to do your own research, come to your own opinions and conclusions, and we'll share them in a friendly way downstairs in the comment section. Now, let's go ahead and talk about, for those who might not know, who Jay-Z is. So Jay-Z, his real name is Sean Corey Carter. He was born December 4th, 1969. We share a birthday, except I'm a little bit younger than he is. He is, world-renowned rapper, entrepreneur, you name it, music icon, business mogul, okay? So he became a huge influential hip-hop figure. One of his most notable albums is Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint. Now, he is major business mogul. He's married to Beyonce, and he has huge ties in with P. Diddy and obviously many people in the music industry. Okay, so he's officially been named in this lawsuit that's going on. It began off as just with P. Diddy, and it was also naming nameless celebrities in it, okay? We'll get to that in a minute or whatever, but now he's been named. So my guess is that they went to him and they were like, hey, look, here's the information. What do you want to do about this? He was like, that's not true. I'm not going to be doing all that, right? And then they were like, well, we're going to name you them. So he will come out and you'll hear what he says when we get to his statements and whatnot, saying this is extortion, this is this is that, which, if it turns out that this is false, then yeah, it technically kind of is, right? But we're going to have to see. There's been a lot of scandal surrounding Jay-Z. Remember that there's a lot of questionable stuff about the age difference that Beyonce was when he started kind of, courting her. There was that elevator situation. There's videos of him out there hitting a woman in the head, pushing a woman in the head. There's all sorts of stuff coming out, okay, and it has been out. So a lot of people feel a certain way about him. So what I want to do first is go over this indictment. Now, what I did, because this is the original indictment, but now he's been named in it. So I'm just picking out the pieces that speak specifically to him. I'll put them on the screen, I'll read them, and we'll talk about them at the end of the video. Okay, so the first thing is you see the first page of it, right? The complaint. And it says introduction, and the defendant Sean Combs, remember this is who this all is stemming from or whatever, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, drugged a 13-year-old girl at an after party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs has been allowed 4 years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequence. He believes, and we'll just put the second thing up here, he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. Okay, so now we're going to move down a little bit further to number 22, 23 of these things in the complaint. And you'll just see here on the screen, I'll put it up. Defendant Carter is, like Combs, a wildly successful rapper businessman. Carter and Combs have a long history together. Carter met and began collaborating musically with Combs in the 90s. Combs and Carter rose together to the very top of the hip-hop industry in terms of fame and influences by the end of that decade. If you were around then, which I was, you already know what I'm talking about. They are that industry, right, in my world, right? From that time zone, at least. Okay, so Combs and Carter were not simply occasional collaborators in the music industry. The two men developed a close friendship that has been well documented from the late 90s to present. Together, they attended countless music industry events for each other's business ventures, parties, after parties. Indeed, the two are apparently so close that Combs stated in 23 that Carter is the only person other than Combs' mother who is allowed to call him by his legal name of Sean. Okay, now number 24 here. In 2000, near the height of their fame, power and influence, Combs and Carter attended the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. Afterwards, Combs hosted an after party for many of the most famous celebrities in the music and entertainment industries, including Carter, which is where the events alleged in this complaint occurred. Okay, so we have the context here, right? Now let's just keep going here. We're going to jump down to 32, okay? Just going to put it on the screen here for you. Now, defendant Sean Carter is a male who, on information and belief, maintains residences in both New York and LA. Defendant Carter is more commonly known by his industry name of Jay-Z. Carter was identified in plaintiff's original complaint as Celebrity A prior to the filing of this amended complaint. Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to resolve this matter. Upon present information and belief, Jay-Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, but by also orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiff's lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates, in an attempt to silence plaintiff from naming Jay-Z herein. This effort was meant to scare plaintiff and to discredit her counsel. The effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amendment as a result of the egregious conduct perpetuated by Carter. Now, we're going to jump down to 32, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this about this. We're getting ready to get into the nuts and bolts of this, so trigger warning, if this stuff bothers you, if it upsets you, this is where you're going to want to fast forward or something, or stop watching it, whatever, okay, because it's very graphic. I won't like say specific words and whatnot, but just know we're going to be talking about something that has allegedly happened to a 13-year-old minor by 2 adult men and a 3rd adult female, so just know that. So 38, on or around September 7th, 2000, plaintiff, then 13 years old, had a friend drive and drop her off near Radio City Music Hall in New York City so she could try to attend the VMAs. Attending the VMAs was on the plaintiff's bucket list, and she believed she could gain entry. Plaintiff arrived at the venue and saw large crowds gathering as artists and entertainers began arriving. Plaintiff was very excited. As the event began, much of the crowd moved inside, but plaintiff, without a ticket, remained outside with others and watched the VMAs on Jumbotron. Determined to get into the VMAs or an after party, she approached several limousine drivers parked nearby and attempted to talk her way into either. One of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for defendant Combs. The driver told her that Combs liked younger girls and said she fit what Diddy was looking for. And while not allowing her into the awards, the driver invited her to an after party. The driver stated that he had to drive Combs and others to the after party first, but instructed plaintiff to return to his location after the event and that he would pick her up and take her to, let's just jump ahead. Okay, we're going to jump ahead to 43. So later that evening, the plaintiff excitedly returned to the same location and waited for what seemed to be a long time. The driver eventually returned and drove her what he described as the after party. After approximately 20 minutes, the plaintiff arrived at what she believed to be a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. Once inside, 2 men asked plaintiff to sign a document, which plaintiff did not read, but which she now believes to have been an NDA. She was told that she could not discuss what happened at the party. She gave the men her name and signed the form and did not receive a copy. Inside the building, the plaintiff recognized many celebrities as she entered what appeared to be a large living room or foyer containing a large crowd. Plaintiff attempted to mingle in the crowd and talk to several of the celebrities that she recognized and whom she had wanted to see at the VMAs. The waitstaff circulated around the room carrying trays of drinks, and loud music played throughout the venue. Plaintiff observed widespread drug use, including Mary Jane and cocaine, if you know what I mean. After attempting to talk to numerous celebrities, the plaintiff accepted a drink from one of the waitresses circulating the crowd. It was a reddish yellow mixture. It had like a bitter taste to it. Now we're going to jump over to 50. After drinking just a portion of that drink, the plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, making her need to lie down. A photograph of an actual exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents' employees to insert GHB into an alcoholic drink is seen below. Okay, number 51. Looking for a place to rest. Plaintiff walked down what appeared to be a hallway containing several rooms off of it. She entered what appeared to be an empty bedroom, so she could lie down for a moment. She did not lock the door. The room only contained a large bed with no furniture of any kind, television or any, like nothing was in there, which to me is like odd, but it makes it like kind of clear like probably what that room was used for, right? Okay, so number 52. Soon after, Combs entered the room along with the defendant Carter and a female celebrity, Celebrity B. Plaintiff immediately recognized all 3 celebrities. Combs aggressively approached the plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Number 54. Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he AR'd her, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. After Carter finished, he stepped back toward the wall. Combs then stepped forward and AR'd plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform a service on him. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt. When Combs backed away in surprise, plaintiff grabbed her clothes and shoes and ran out of the bedroom, holding her dress in front of her like a towel. She ran around the residence until she found the front door and was able to leave the party. Although there were other guests still at the party, no one appeared to take notice of plaintiff's distress or attempted to help her. Once outside, the plaintiff put her clothes back on and left the scene in the dark. The plaintiff attempted to retrace the route taken by the limo driver. She kept running until she reached a gas station she noticed on the way to the party. A female clerk noticed her in distress and allowed her to use the phone. The plaintiff called her father. She admitted that she lied, and he basically came and got her. Now, just to jump down to number 61 here, it says plaintiff fell into, so after this, the plaintiff fell into a deep depression, which continues to affect every facet of life. She suffers from PTSD and a seizure disorder caused by stress and trauma. Plaintiff has had difficulty maintaining normal relationships and lives largely withdrawn from society. Now, below that, we just get into the first cause of action, and it's just going into talking about the crimes committed and whatnot, and how this, hurt them in the context and the parameters of said crimes. So we'll jump down to the last page here that we're going to review in this part of it. Now, you'll see here it says defendant as follows: awarding compensatory damages for all physical injuries, emotional distress, psychological harm, anxiety, humiliation, physical and emotional pain, and suffering, family and social disruption, and other harm in an amount to be determined at trial. And then it says awarding punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, awarding attorney's fees and costs pursuant to any applicable statute or law, and then D, awarding pre and post judgment interest on all such damages, fees, and or cost. E, attaching any and all of defendant's real property and other assets located in the state of New York pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 64. And finally, F, awarding such other and further relief as this court may deem just and proper. So that's that part of what we're going to cover here. Now let's move on to some other dynamics that have taken place with this. And this is going to be continually unfolding. So this is not the end all be all right here. Depending on when you watch this, probably much more stuff has come up. But again, I've been following this case as like major things take place in it and whatnot. Now, what I want to turn our focus to now is what did Jay-Z have to say about this, right? Let's look at his statement that he put out on Twitter. Now, I'm just going to read this here. You can read along with me. I'll put it on the screen. So it says, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt calling a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. That's all caps, as you see. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. When you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these type of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine? Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family, my wife, and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims, and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake psychics will believe this idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am. Now, he's come out very strong in his thing here and whatnot, and these are huge allegations that he's making here as well. And again, you know, time will tell. Now, let's go over a couple of more things that have come out since this took place. And we're going to first do this by looking at an article here, okay? And what we're going to do is we'll put it on the screen here. And the title here says, Jay-Z files to dismiss our lawsuit with Sean Diddy Combs, demands end to extortion saga. Now, beneath that, it says Jay-Z was accused of R-ing a minor with Sean Diddy Combs and refiled lawsuits stemming from the alleged 2000 MTV VMAs assault by Tracy White. This was in Fox News. Let's go to the next little thing. Now, in the first paragraph here, it just says, you know, one day after Jay-Z was named in this assault, he filed a motion to dismiss the R lawsuit, according to documents that were obtained by Fox. He also wants the court to deny the plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously. He wants them to have to name themselves, right? This is another thing that's been taking place. It's also another move, depending on how you view it, to intimidate them, right? Because a lot of times people might be like, I don't want to come out publicly, so never mind type situation. Now, at the bottom here, it does say, in his motion to dismiss, Jay-Z accused Texas-based lawyer Tony Busby of running a sprawling extortion saga whose aim is to base and measured in dollars. Now, let's go to this other thing here. It also says in this first part, in the motion to dismiss, Jay-Z argues he was the victim of an extortionate campaign, which was cynical and calculated to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money. Defendant would have to pay X millions of dollars, irrespective of truth or else. Okay, now we've seen situations like this in the past. Remember Michael Jackson? That was kind of like one of the first, like, whoa, you know, whatever, when that first took place. Now this is more common, okay? To the bottom thing here, and again, they're quoting this document. It says, when defendant refused to pay and instead took measures to establish his innocence, this unnamed plaintiff and her self-promoting counsel, whose name has been splashed across headlines and press conferences, went to extraordinary lengths to shut down fair defense. Both those efforts to fail, the document stated. Now, on that, let's hear what the attorney has to say to Jay-Z. Okay, we're kind of jumping back and forth here. Now, here you'll see on the screen, Tony says, regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I am very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media. So this is pretty strong here, right? We'll get to some thoughts on it in a minute, but let's finish this particular video update out with what old Miss Beyonce's mama had to say about it, okay? Now I'm going to put up on the screen here a little screenshot of her Insta, and you see here Miss Tina Knowles, this is Beyonce's mother, and it says, I was hacked. As all as you know, I do not play about my family, so if you see something uncharacteristic of me, just know that it's not me. Now over here, you see her comment, it says, please stop playing with me. No weapon formed against my family shall prosper. And then the comments beneath here, you see this one person says, and your account is back up and running so soon, like, So another person says, thank you for clearing the air, we're rooting for you. Now what this is a response to is an article that came out, like I think it was ABC News talking about this, and she hearted it. Now this particularly right here doesn't hold water with me that she hearted it, because, and I don't know if this is just like an older person thing, but like for me, a lot of times, like when I'm doing stuff, I don't mean to like something because of the way I scroll, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll accidentally hit it twice and I'll undo it, or I won't even pay attention and keep going. So to me, when I read this, I was like, yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, girl, I get it. Like there'll be stuff where I'm like, I didn't mean to like this, what I do. But I mean, you never know, right? I mean, we already know there's video evidence of him doing what he did to Beyonce in the in the elevator and whatnot. So let's talk about some final thoughts. Okay, these are horrible allegations, right? If this is all proved to be true, these are absolutely horrid things that happened to this person, okay? Now, if she is emboldened, she's like, no, you know what? Let's come out. Here's my name. Here's what's going on. Okay. Like the attorney, Tony Busby, said, this will play out in court. Yes, we've seen these situations before where something like this happens and everybody jumps on the bandwagon and everybody wants money, this, that, and the other, and the true victims of the case get muddled in the, is it really true? Is it really not? Or whatever. Time and evidence will tell. Again, what I think went on here is they went to him and said, here's the situation. We want to do this. He doubled down, said, nope, 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 absolutely not. And, you know, here we go. Okay. This has been rumored for a long time. If these names I'm about to throw out are familiar to you, Jaguar Wright, Cat Williams, Sloan Bella. Okay. Love Sloan. Love all three of them. They've been saying literally these specific names and naming this stuff of, and specifically Jay-Z, of he's, you know, on up there with this stuff, right? They're very powerful men and very dangerous men in this way. Now, that's not to say that just because they said this makes it true, okay? Now, one of the things when I'm reading the complaint here, and I'm not trying to victim bash or anything like this, but like when I'm reading this, I'm like, this girl's very young and she's getting dropped off at the VMAs and hanging out to do this. Like, what? You know, and then another thing that throws me off with it is I'm like, okay, so she goes to this house and, well, first of all, this is just like tea, like, no, we don't know who this is. In the live chat that we did about this, a lot of people said that they thought that the female celebrity B was J-Lo. Okay, now that I don't know that to be fact. I don't know it all. That's just an opinion. It's not true. It's alleged. But I'm curious who you think it is, right? I don't think it's Beyonce because of the timeline, but I don't 100% know. So there's that little thing right there. Now, secondly, different stories that I've heard of how these parties worked, and it's, I guess, different at different houses and stuff like that, is it was almost like they're kind of vetting out who's going to go where and who's going to have what happen. So it's almost like there's people at the party that are like, she's going to be the one to go to like the mega party, like the after hours that nobody sees. Because a lot of these celebrities would be like, I went to Diddy's white party. I didn't see anything. Well, there's a public party, right? And then there's the other party, the after party that only certain people see. And this is where it seems to be a lot of this stuff is coming from. You know, those kind of parties. So that being said, you know, the way she's describing this or the chain of events, I'm almost like, okay, were they already like, because she's going into this part of the house, we already know that we have basically sequestered her into the victimization part of the house. You see what I'm saying? Because the way that she's like, well, I just took this drink from a waitress, like, how did they know she was going to get the drink? Okay. That just seems so dangerous to me to just put a generic amount of GHB into a drink. I mean, you can fall out from that so easy, right? I mean, just depending on your body shapes and stuff like that, it's like a drunken feeling that can make you too much of it. I mean, you go into a G-hole, right? I mean, this is kind of stuff that happens. Blink twice, okay? So I'm just like, how do they know that? But I guess too, if you're willing to do these things to people, you don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking it more from a place of view of like, what if she got hurt from taking too much and OD'd? And I guess it's like, Paul, they're not. I'm kind of being naive with that, I guess, where I'm like, Paul, I don't think they're thinking about that. Right? I think they're just concerned about harming somebody. You know, and again, if this is true, if these allegations all, you know, pan out and whatnot, a lot of these kind of facts seem to hold true amongst various people's stories, which is of concern. And again, what is of major concern here is the age of this girl at this party. Also, this part right here, where she's talking about like walking around. Nobody is sitting here talking about how are you here? Right? Because I think in terms of like, a lot of us grew up like, and I hate to use this word, but like in comparison to something like this, like in a normal town, not Hollywood is what I mean. And whether you grew up in the city or a small town, you didn't grow up around this vibe to where normally, if you saw somebody this age randomly walking around a party, you might, of adults, you might be like, who are you here with? But I guess that's encouraged in this world, right? Because you might have a 13-year-old with a record deal. I mean, it's just a completely different world. Well, then when she's talking about running around, you know, with her clothes like a towel, and nobody's even questioning this, I'm like, this checks out in my opinion, right? Like, this is how I see the stuff going, where it's just like, oh, they're so desensitized to seeing this horridness that nothing is bizarre to them. Seeing a young person like this at a grown-up party is not weird to them. Whereas to us, it would be like, give me your hand, child. We're going to go call your mom and dad or whoever, right? And they're going to come pick you up. Now, we obviously saw the part where she got on the phone and she's like, you know, Dad, I lied. This is where I'm really at. Can you imagine your dad talking about, now, hopefully it went down like they just wanted to get her help, but it was like, well, where'd you go? Did you go over like so-and-so's house? Now it's over at P. Diddy's. What? Plays, right? They would wear your butt out. My goodness gracious. So anyways, so that's all here. And again, by the time you watch this, there's probably even more stuff that's come out about it. We'll be following the major updates in this as this goes. Personally, this is what I think. Hollywood is crashing. It has been crashing, and this is another layer of it. More big names are going to come out. We're going to keep getting our mouths dropped to the ground as we see the names come out. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until this structure hopefully is dissolved and these people are gone and justice is served. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I do appreciate if you're still watching. If you could drop some sofas off down there while you are hanging out in the comment section. For myself, Rosco and Spirit, the boys who are over at a friend's house. So we all have a place to hang out, talk about this case, all the cases we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander our way down to that little comment section, I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Rosco on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.